You're listening to Sirius XM Insight. And this is Tell Me Everything with John Fugelsang.
I'm so pleased to welcome our latest guest because I've wanted to have Liza Donnelly on the show for a while. If you read The New Yorker or you know her cartoons or have read any of her 15 books, you're a devotee as well. She's also one of the bright lights in the torrid wasteland that is Twitter. However, it's such a thrill as someone who's admired you, both in terms of your creativity and your unique insight into the human psyche, and as well as your for anyone who can talk politics in a creative, humorous way.
Wow. Thank you.
You know, Billy Wilder said, if you're going to tell people the truth, make it funny or they'll kill you. And how you've done it in both the personal and the political has inspired me for such a long time. Liza Donnelly, welcome to Sirius XM Insight.
Thank you for that, John. That's great.
Well, hey, you did it.
I haven't heard that quote. I'm going to use that quote.
Oh,
That's great.
it's above my desk, yeah.
Humor is wonderful. It gets you lots of places, you know.
It keeps you from being preachy. It keeps you from being angry.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a delivery system for truth.
Yeah.
Humor is the lube that allows truth to enter a brain.
Well, now that you put it that way.
Yeah, well, that's not over my desk. So you sold your first cartoon to the New Yorker when?
A long time ago.
Yeah.
Did you? I started cartooning when I was in utero, so about 35 years ago. So, yeah.
Did you? Was it always something that you wanted to do? Did you know that you wanted to be a certain kind of cartoonist, of a bit more? I don't mean this in a negative way, but a bit more sophisticated than what Charles Schulz was doing.
No, I love Charles Schulz.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah.
But
no,
you didn't want to do like a strip.
No, I don't know why. I didn't think of that.
Being a multi-millionaire didn't appeal to you.
Yeah. Well, instead, I'm a New Yorker cartoonist, which is not.
Well, Frank and I recently we just did a benefit for Charlie Hebdo magazine with Bob Mankoff.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, I always wonder about, there's cartoonists and then there's the cartoonist whose work is seen in the New Yorker. And I'm wondering, was that like the elite to you when you were first starting out?
Well, you know, when I first started out, I wanted to be a political cartoonist. I grew up in Washington, D.C., and I, all that stuff going on around the Watergate and whatnot. Now you know how old I am. I wanted to be a political cartoonist like Herb Block, but didn't think I had enough opinions to do that. So I looked at the New Yorker, which my parents got, and I thought, oh my God, that's too status quo. I don't want to be a part of that, because I saw the liquor ads and the fur ads. And then finally, when I started looking more closely, I saw that the New Yorker is political. It's political in a quiet way, and that kind of suited my temperament.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought, well, if they'll have me, that's where I want to be. So I set my sights on that.
And since then, your stuff has appeared there for a healthy long time. And it seems to me that, you know, what I like most about your work is that it just keeps on getting better, and that no matter how arch or acerbic you're being, there's always, I think, a good-natured warmth to it. There's never any kind of nihilism in your work.
Yeah, that's one of my drawbacks well, maybe it's a good thing, because you said, I try to make people happy. That's my motivation for cartooning, but I get so pissed off at things. Particularly as I get older, I began to realize how many things piss me off, and I want to talk about it in my cartoons. So I'm trying to combine those two, not be mean, but try to point out stuff.
Well, that's why, like, you know, I think that what you do is so political. I pulled up a few of my favorites, and, you know, have this one of these two little girls playing with dolls, and one says to the other, I can't decide what I'm going to be when I grow up, a good girl or a slut.
Yeah, thank you. And one of my personal favorites.
Yeah, well, to me, in that sense, you know, what you do is so deeply political, and I'm wondering, like, as someone
the personal is political, kind of.
Well, yeah, particularly for women, and, you know, I do a lot of women cartoons about women's rights and whatnot. So if you can get at those things, the daily lives of people or women, and specifically, because there's a lot of crap going wrong in our culture and other cultures. So if you can get at it through cartoons, then that's the best way to go about it.
Is that therapeutic for you when you see things that piss you off? Is it being able to turn it into art, and funny art at that? Is that what drives you?
So yeah.
You have the one. I love your ones with children. You have another one of the two children in the playground saying, "I'm staying together for the sake of my parents."
Yeah.
And to me, like I'm trying to live on the Upper West Side now, and I'm not doing a very good job of it. And you know, it just seems like there's so much that's ripe for satire, but I kind of feel like satire is a lost art in America. People think that parody is satire, and that it's not actually. I mean, what you do is truly, I think, social satire. You are, in a way, taking on certain tropes of society by defending them. Am I being too academic?
Defending the tropes?
Yeah, in a way, by doing it in like humorous form. You're not being mean. You're never attacking, and you never attack down.
Yeah, you're referring to Gary Trudeau's speech, right? About he believed that, he believes that the Charlie Hebdo artists should not have been killed. Of course, they should be able to draw whatever they want, but that they, as political cartoonists, we have a responsibility to make fun of people below us, above us, not below us.
Well, as political comics, I think Frank and I cling to the same sort of ideal. Because
I agree.
Well, that's why
why there aren't probably what you were about to say.
Go ahead, you say.
But I'll say instead. Probably why there aren't great conservative comedians, or comedians who do or conservative comedy. There might be comedians or cartoonists, because I think they would have to attack down in their humor, and it's just not as effective to do comedy from the point of view of Donald Trump.
Yeah.
From the point of view of Bill O'Reilly is an attack down, and that just doesn't make for good.
When you're attacking the poor or attacking the politicians who are trying to help the less fortunate, the only way you can do that is if you demonize the poor first. And either way, you're attacking down. And it's the essence of there are great conservatives who are great comics, but I don't think there's a lot of great conservative comedy out there. And Fox keeps trying to have their own daily show, and it doesn't work. Yeah,
and there's a very few political cartoonists who are conservative as well.
Well, yeah. I mean, how funny is it going to be defending the capital gains tax year after year? Attacking people who want a fair wage or women's rights.
The other thing with women's rights, I was thinking as we were talking that you might say, well, if I make fun of women, that's attacking down, but it's not, because many women are complicit in the patriarchy. So it's like we got to attack the system. You don't necessarily.
Yeah, and I also think you can mock the silly things women have been convinced to do to themselves.
I did a whole book about that. So.
Yes, you did, and that's one of the reasons why I think you're one of the great feminist wits of our day.
Oh my.
Your Daily Scoop, woman, the 3 newspaper covers.
Yeah.
Woman runs company while pregnant. Woman leads board meeting while menstruating. Woman overcomes PMS to win Nobel Prize.
Well, that's making fun of the media, because that really did happen when Marissa Mayer was found to be pregnant and trying to run a company. They went bonkers. But
wasn't there? I remember there was a I forget who it was. There was a New York Times obituary about some incredibly accomplished scientist, female, and the opening thing was about how she made a mean goulash recipe. That was like in the opening paragraph.
Right.
Well, that's why in a way, naked misogyny is easier to handle than institutionalized sexism, where we don't even confront it. I mean, I'm shocked how many mainstream news outlets talk about what Hillary Clinton's wearing or eating every day, after all of this.
And Fox News, by the way, just this is true. They're finding a conspiracy in Chelsea Clinton being pregnant a second time.
Oh, she's
all
doing
part
it
of
just
the plan,
to make
all
Hillary,
part of the plan.
She's bringing a new. They're upset that she's bringing a new life into the world.
I wrote a joke about that about that the right was going to do that, and by the right I mean Maureen Dowd. But Fox, then Eric, whatever his name is, Bowling, actually presented that as a theory on his show yesterday.
I'm not surprised.
I'm not surprised either. But you know what? Speaking of equal opportunity humor, what about Chris Christie? Nobody is talking about how much weight he's lost.
Well, it's not as funny as him being fat.
I know.
Well, I don't know. I mean, I think in a way, maybe he should do more running. I mean, God knows he won't be, running a year from now. But
it's not going to get him elected.
Sadly, it's not. Although, you never know. He got that New Hampshire endorsement.
Yeah.
Does this?
I think that was he made that happen somehow, right?
Yeah, I think so. The union leader. That's like Chris Christie being endorsed by the gluten-free leader.
Well, he was. The endorsement was from Gourmet Magazine.
Oh, I see. Our guest is Liza Donnelly, author and New Yorker cartoonist extraordinaire of renown. Our number is 877-974-7487, 877-9-SIRIUS. One of the things I love is that you can do in one panel what it takes me a paragraph to do. When I get so frustrated at how, let's say, beauty magazines are designed to make women feel ugly, I get so down on this culture of lookism. And you have this one great cartoon that I've always loved. A woman in a doctor's office, and her female doctor says, "Stop looking at women's magazines and call me in the morning."
Yeah, I gave them up a long time ago.
What drives you? Is it frustration with the culture? Is it anger, or is it amusement?
All of the above, John. I don't know. All of the above. Anger at what restrictions are put on women and what we put on ourselves and how we don't even know what's happening. See, my job is to like look at the culture and look at people's behavior really closely, right? That's how we do what we do. And so I see things maybe that other people don't see. And so my job, I feel, is to bring it out and say, look, see what stupid things you're doing or that's being done to you. And it's kind of, it makes it fun. You can laugh at it, but then you go like, wait a minute, maybe I shouldn't be doing that.
Like, give me an example, please.
Plastic surgery.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, unnecessary plastic surgery.
Yeah. That's
yeah.
Well,
or I don't know. I mean, I'm not against high heels, but stiletto heels, they seem ridiculous sometimes to me.
That for me, it's open-toed boots. I'm like, what are you? Cold toes and sweaty ankles? It's the mullet of hair of footwear. Come on. But your stuff is so broad in its appeal. I mean, there's not a lot of cartoonists who can claim to have had their work in National Lampoon and the New York Times and the Harvard Business Review and the Nation and Cosmo.
Yeah, well, I do what I can to make a
Harvard
living.
Business Review is known for being a laugh riot. Right?
Yeah, they like cartoons, but it has to be sort of in a boardroom or at a desk or something.
Right.
How have you changed creatively over the years?
Well, my stuff in the beginning was really quiet and many times without words, captionless. And then I began to get comfortable with words. And then in the 90s, Tina Brown, you know Tina, right? She was editor of The New Yorker, and she started buying work from me that I see now in retrospect was women making fun of men. And that's what my latest book is about, women making fun of men in a loving way, poking fun at them. And then I began to get a stronger voice that way, and this is another 10 years later. After 9/11, I started getting more angry, and so I got even more political, even though I've done political cartoons all my life. Rape culture around the world, and I do a lot of stuff with international cartoonists. So I just got more forceful with what I wanted to say and how I wanted to say it.
You do
I was less scared.
You do a lot of public speaking, and one thing that you do that I just find so inspiring is you're doing live cartooning.
Oh yeah.
Now, how did this, as an art form, come into your life?
I love this, John.
It's a great kind of performance.
One day I was watching I think it was a State of the Union address on TV, and I had a new iPad, and I was playing with this app, and I started drawing what I saw on television. And I tweeted it out immediately. You can do that. And the response was so overwhelming from Twitter that I had this, immediate drawing like a visual tweet. It was a visual tweet that I kept doing it. And so I've been doing events, political events, the Oscars, the Grammys, the BET Awards. I do it for corporations. I go and draw conventions and stuff. But the most exciting thing I was going to tell you today is that I've done the Oscars from my television set, but now I'm going to go to the Oscars this year. I'm going to be there.
Great.
Really?
Yeah, I'm so excited.
You're going to be part of the
official. I
have
have to wear a gown, too, or at least a black tie or something.
Is this the big announcement that we get to share?
That's the big announcement.
This is amazing.
It's exciting for me. I mean, I hope everybody else.
So did ABC actually ask you to come out and do it?
No, I approached a friend, and I approached the PR guy, Steve Rohr is his name, and he loved the idea. And
so it'll be like on their website or whatever.
No, you can
with
follow
the New Yorker. It'll be connected to the New Yorker.
But those following your tweets on Oscar night will see your illustrations pop up live. It's
live.
fantastic.
Yeah, I'll be right there.
You recently drew the comics at the New York Comedy Festival.
Yes.
How was that?
That was really fun because I love comedy.
Mm-hmm.
I love stand-up comedy. So I, for the New Yorker, I went around to different venues and drew. They wanted me to focus it on something, because there's so many comics. So I narrowed it down to drawing just the women who were performing, and so. I went to Caroline's. I went to see Kathy Griffin.
Mm-hmm.
Now I went to see Judd Apatow because I thought it was billed as Judd Apatow and Friends. So I thought he's a big supporter of women, Amy Schumer and Lena Dunham.
Right.
I thought he's going to have a woman there, but he didn't. Damn him. Sorry, Judd. I'm
you
not a fan of your work,
but either John and I were there either. So
no, but he retweets me, so I gotta. He gets sexism points for that. I want to ask you. I'd feel remiss if I didn't ask you how you feel today for someone who writes so much about women's issues and about politics. In the wake of the announcement that there's going to be no charges filed against anyone in the very suspicious death of Sandra Bland, who I think never should have been taken out of her car and arrested in the first place.
God, if you watch that video, it's alarming. She died because she is a strong snarky woman.
She talked back to a cop, and she's
Right.
dead now.
I mean, I wouldn't talk back to a cop, but that's no reason for her to be killed.
I agree.
I'm too scared, but I think it's horrible. I mean, the case is still ongoing, and maybe some charges will be filed.
But when you see, Donald Trump and what he said about women and how it continues with saying that Hillary Clinton was schlonged by
Oh, my
Barack
God.
Obama. I mean, are we getting better? And
Also,
that's why
her coming back from the bathroom, he described it as
it's disgusting.
It's too disgusting. Women
Yeah,
going to the
that's what you're
bathroom
talking about.
now are
is
we?
quite
Yeah.
disgusting.
It might seem
to
like
him.
we're getting worse, but is it actually the revulsion against Trump's comments a sign that maybe we're getting better? I mean, in your experience as an artist, do you think that sexism is that we've become better as a society at dealing with sexism?
I think we're noticing it more, which is good. I think people are more aware of it. And then in that election he referred to, 2008, we had Hillary and Palin running, and there was a lot of stuff we had to deal with that we learned about ourselves with those elections. So
To say nothing,
hopefully.
the ageist jokes about McCain and the racist jokes about Obama.
But
Right.
what's disturbing now, I think, though, is that no matter what Trump says, of course, it doesn't hurt him in the polls. It just helps him. And as a result, the media continues, no matter what he says, they treat him respectfully. They have him on their shows. They have him on Meet the Press. And they don't really confront him. And they want him to help their ratings. And so as a result, this incredibly sexist, hateful person
Exactly.
is given
I
a
know.
respectful forum that he shouldn't be getting.
I was hesitant about bringing him up today. I mean, just for that same reason. But
Yeah.
I'm so glad that Obama spoke out about Trump
Yeah.
recently, because it is a matter of national security now.
Well, and
what he's
MSNBC is only too happy to. They're doing an hour-long documentary about Trump during Chris Matthews' show tonight at 7 p.m. I mean, if you
Oh,
need
my
proof that
God.
there's no liberal media, that it's all
Yeah.
ratings-driven, and I get that it's a business, but it's all the more reason why I'm inspired by what you do, Liza Donnelly. And before you go,
Thanks.
I have to ask you this: what are you optimistic about?
I'm not a pessimist, so I'm optimistic about a lot of things.
Okay.
I don't have a one answer for you, John.
Well, no worries.
I'm sorry.
That's okay. No, that's
I mean,
honest.
I'm always looking at the bright side. That may be a failing of mine. I don't see the negative.
Yeah.
I try to see the positive.
I don't think your panels would be as funny if you
Oh, yeah?
were. Yeah.
Well, I hope your radio show, continues to get huge, so we can battle the conservative radio.
Well, thank you.
They're Fox and those guys are our biggest problem, I think.
Yeah, they're keeping us. They're holding us all back.